Is he over there? Is he over there? I don't see him. Did y'all see Mark Andrews? We can't find him. Yo, what's up? We're back from Thursday Night Football, part 2 of the Start Sit episode. Brian, Brennan, too much fantasy football. Dude, that game last night, that freaking game.
Besides the hatred towards the tight ends, it was a very, very good game, though, at least. Like, it's a good way to start off for week 1.
I feel like you're likely forgetting somebody there when you're talking about tight ends that screwed up.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Dude, every Mark Andrews owner is in sheer panic right now.
I own too much Mark Andrews, so I'm just on the floor. I'm a puddle right now. Starting it off, we're going to get into Start Sit part 2 here, but we have to have a little breakdown of the game last night. Where are you? Where's the panic meter on Mark Andrews? I know we kind of talked pre-show that we saw some reason not to freak out.
Yeah, I've settled down a little bit. I'm at like a 3. Like, I mean, from someone pointed out, I think Andy Holloway from the Fantasy Footballers pointed out that like Kansas City game plans for Mark Andrews are just making me relevant in every game they played in, so that makes me feel a little bit better. And like another thing too, like I did go back and watch some of the game tape. He was double coverage like every time he ran down, like even just the middle of the field. That's where his bread and butter is. And Kansas City just took that away. And like I know Isaiah Likely did great on 12 targets, 9 receptions, but like all they were just out routes and checkdowns. Like they just were simple things. He was just wide open. So like if for me, I'm thinking next week the Ravens won't have that availability because I think the team will see that and be like, let's just take that away and make sure we cover him too. Because obviously Isaiah Likely, when he gets the ball in his hand, is fucking crazy when he gets on the field. That juke back for the touchdown was just like that was nasty. That was like I'm gonna go back in.
Yeah, it's. I feel like if anything, it just makes you feel happier that this offense can cruise. Maybe we're gonna be rocking a little bit more 12 personnel, but if Isaiah Likely means the offense is going to move more and we're not going to have these like dud games where they just can't move because they are double covering Andrews, I'm okay with it. You said double covered. Like the last freaking drive, they were triple covering that guy. Like he had no shot at all. They is the Chiefs defense. In the end zone. Yeah, no, 100% because that's where he lives. Lamar Jackson, it says that's who he looks for when he goes to the end zone. So I get it hurts, and you have all of this pent up 7-8 months of just excitement. So between that, him falling short, you getting only a couple points. I get the emotion. I'm running high on it too, but I'm not freaking out. I'm not selling the guy.
I'm not either. I was offered a Joku for Mark Andrews in a league after last night. I'm just like, it's a fair offer after what happened. I'm going to hold. I think come week 3, I'll panic if this is still the same case. But like, how much are you going to spend fab-wise on Isaiah Likely if he's available? Like, I know we haven't seen other games play, but I'm sure we all have a number in our head.
I think it's the hardest thing. You have to look at your roster. If you're rocking Trey McBride, I'm not going to break the bank for Isaiah Likely because then you're telling yourself you're going to be double starting tight end, and outside of a tight end premium league, it's a hard one to ask. Speaking of hard thing to ask, is it too much to ask for freaking Jamar Chase to be out on the field this week? Like, come on, man. He says he wants to get paid, not just a little bit more, a lot more than Jefferson. So, game time decision might be limited to snaps. His words right now, T. Higgins is hampered, missed practice again. The alarm, it's going up over here though, right?
I mean, Joe Burrow, it's more so for Joe Burrow because now he's going to be out there. Jamar Chase said he's going to be limited, and it sounds like it'll be, if he gets paid, he'll be full go. But if he's not paid, he's only going to play a limited amount of snaps, so that's just a little bit concerning. I mean, I don't think I can put Joe Burrow as a quarterback 1 this week. You know, he's going to be throwing the ball to, uncertain players. I mean, Mike Gesicki, Zach Moss, Chase Brown, Voss. I mean, Jermaine Burton might be activated. Who knows? But it's just like it's a rough week for them. I know they're playing the Patriots, who's not the greatest thing, but the Patriots still have a decent defense.
If anything, maybe Zach Moss and Chase Brown just see like a 40% target share between the two of them. It's just they're just going to get peppered left and right. They really won't need a whole lot, I don't think, from this game. Like Bengals defense is one of the most popular streaming this week, so it sucks. You spend a first round on Chase, and I don't want to start him this week.
I don't want to start him unless I see a contract signed. I'll be honest. If there's no contract signed where he's, paid and he's happy, I probably would pivot just because, like, he made it very clear, like, he will play very limited snaps if he's not paid. So Like I'm
you
going to
imagine
believe
it's
the
like
person. I'm going to believe him. So
you imagine heat of the drive. They're down in the red zone, 3rd and 6, and he just walks off. No, I'm
he's
taking
like,
this
nah,
one
come
off.
get me. Come get me. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
I want so badly to see something of that nature. As far as the rest of the news, just have a few other things. We got some guys getting paid. Pat Fryermuth of the Steelers, tight end, he got paid pretty decently. And then DeAndre Hopkins, we talked about him yesterday. Rumors that he wasn't going to play this week from Taylor Lewan. Looks like right now he's playing through a MCL tear.
MCL. Yeah,
MCL
it's
tear, not the PCL. I'm not going to freak out on that one.
That's a little concerning to play through too. It's not it's not as severe from the other ones, from my understanding. But like, I definitely still don't want to start him this week, even if he does go out there. It's just a little concerning to me.
Yeah, we touched on that game yesterday, and it's between them and the Bears, 44.5-point over/under. We're not expecting fireworks from this game, so yeah, go ahead and put him on the bench, and let's just wait and see, get some more information.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get in this? I'm pumped. We got to finish off the start sits. Let's
Yep.
do it. Boop. Pause, folks. Leg itches. Bam, there it is. Get that timer on the clock. All right, let's get that timer rocking and rolling. Game we're talking about right now is Broncos at Seattle. It is a 41.5-point over/under. Seattle's favored by 6 in this game. Walk me through it. What's most exciting here?
I think the most exciting thing are the running backs. I think both Javonte Williams and Kenneth Walker have like low RB1, RB2 type games. Just think like Bo Nix is going to be relying on his running back for checkdowns. He did it in college. I think he'll do it again here. I think Javonte will be a 3-down back, and I think Kenneth Walker is very just underrated in my opinion. So I think he'll have a good game too as well. So I think those are the good points out of this game, I would say.
Yeah, I like both of those. Jaleel McLaughlin, is he flex worthy?
No.
It's rough.
Wait and see.
He's never going to be the guy that's getting a huge amount of the share. Even if Javonte goes out there and looks like crap, it's going to be Estime that comes in and kind of takes those early down. So we're looking for McLaughlin to be involved in the passing game a lot more. So yeah, I'm okay with sitting down week 1, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Wide receiver wise, like I think Cortland Sutton's the only one I would start from Denver, and then obviously on Seattle side, like DK's in your lineup. JSN, I think where you took him, you probably has him as your flex, so you might have maybe another option, but I kind of want to wait and see entire Lockett because I want to see who really is, because I know this is Grubb's offense from Washington here and a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, but I just kind of want to see what Geno looks like with playing it. Obviously, JSN has got a lot of camp hype, so I think you can start him pretty comfortably, but I just want to wait entire Lockett though.
I have no urge to play Tyler Lockett. You must have really screwed up your draft to be putting in that position, unless you're in a really deep league. But for the most part, you shouldn't be pressured to play Tyler Lockett this week. I really don't want to. I want to see, I guess it's just the hope, the excitement for JSN. I really think that he's going to be more heavily used in this offense. Geno, I think, is a great streamer if you punted the position or like Superflex League. I think give him the thumbs up of approval this week. I think we're going to see a pretty good game from him. I'm hoping for that backup. As for tight ends,
neither side. I don't want to. No.
I will give my nod for Greg Dulcich. I think he's a decent streaming option. I wrote it up in my tight end streaming article. I think there's worse options to play if you're in that position where you're looking outside of the top 8-9 guys. So if you want to pivot from Taysom Hill because you want to believe Brennan, I get it. Maybe Dulcich is your guy then. No.
Rookie quarterback, I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait.
Yeah, I totally get that too. 41.5-point over/under. Seattle's favored by 6. Who do you have?
I have Seattle pretty comfortably. I think Seattle covers the spread too. I think Seattle's a good streaming defense as well. I have nothing against Bo Nix, anything else like that, but I just think rookie quarterback starting his first game, I'll take the other side.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. There's been a handful of these games where I don't mind taking the other team to cover the spread when they're up by 6, but I like Seattle here, and I think they might hit the over. I think we might get a little over action on this one. But let's
stay away from that.
Staying away from that one.
Yeah, stay away from the over under. Yeah.
All right, next one's up on the clock. We've got Cowboys at Browns. Battle of two of the better defenses, or at least DSTs last year. It's a 41 point over under. Cleveland's favored by 2.5. Dallas opened up is favored by 1.5. So interesting to see the money move on this one. What's your initial?
the most outstanding thing from this is that the Browns' offensive tackles, both Jedrick Willis and Conklin, are, I think Jedrick Willis is ruled out and Conklin's questionable. So, like, because Deshaun Watson does really, really well with, under pressure, obviously. So that should go really well for the Browns. Like, I mean, I don't want to start Deshaun Watson. I think you got to wait and see. I know he had some games where he did good. Like Jerome Ford's probably the only one I want to start. Same with Amari Cooper. Njoku, I mean, you drafted him probably as a late tight end one. Like, so you're probably going to start him. But just besides Ford, Cooper, and Njoku, that's all I want. I don't want to start Watson.
No, not at all. He's been cleared to play, but I feel like all we've heard is just a little soreness here, a little this, a little that. I almost feel like he doesn't want to be out there. He got so much guaranteed money. Why would he? If he's not going to be a great quarterback, why give a I don't know.
$260 million guaranteed. Whatever, man. Who cares?
He knew he wasn't playing for an extension.
Yeah, exactly.
he got a long enough contract.
On the Dallas side, though, Dak's obviously you picked him up as like probably QB8 to QB10, and I like this matchup. They're going to throw the ball a lot. From what I read recently from the Dallas beat writer today, it sounds like Rico Dowdle will get anywhere from 12 to 15 touches, and Zeke will get 10 to 12. So both are somewhat startable. If you did punt the position, like obviously I'd lean more towards Dowdle being the guy, and then obviously CeeDee Lamb is wide receiver one, with potentially finishing as a wide receiver one, and Jake Ferguson, I like him a lot. So he's a good start.
I like Zeke this week. I think you can do a whole lot worse coming out of your flex position. He is Dallas royalty there. And we've seen Dallas. They don't always make the smart decision. They don't always make the rational decision here. Mike McCarthy's out there, Jerry Jones. I think Zeke's going to get work. I think he's going to be the one that has the touchdown opportunity down low. And we saw him get peppered with targets and be somewhat fantasy relevant in New England last year. So I'd be willing to start him if you're in a pinch in that certain situation. I don't hate the flex, but him or Ford, I'm taking Ford every time,
Yeah. So who gets more points this week, Dowdle or Zeke in a full point PPR?
A full point, I'm going to go Zeke.
I'll go Dowdle. I'll bet you on that.
Okay. All right. We're going to get interesting here with this one, folks. We're going to have several written down somewhere on some of these papers.
All right. Who do you have winning, though?
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I am, too. I'm going to take them money line.
I think the biggest thing for me is, like you said, the tackles being out. This offensive line, Watson's back here. Let's make it easy.
Yeah, I trust Dallas more than I trust Deshaun Watson.
Which is not something fun to say. I saw you cringe up a little bit when you said it.
I know.
All right, next up on the clock, let's see what we've got. It's the Commanders. It's the Buccaneers. This might be third or fourth on my most excited games to watch, and it's purely because of Jaden Daniels. We're so excited to see the rookie roll out there. I'm kind of excited to see what the Buccaneers look like. Can they outplayed? Nobody can. Nobody wouldn't agree with that. They outplayed every, between metrics, wins, all of these different things. So I don't think they're going to hit what they did last year, but are they competitive enough where we get to see some points, Rachaad White, I think, is the biggest question mark for me. Looks like you're looking at him low end RB2.
Yeah, I think he finishes anywhere from RB18 to RB24, just because I still think they're going to give him the run until they see that he can't do it anymore, because they've already made comments that Bucky Irving is just going to be that change of pace back if he needs to be, because obviously, he's so inefficient between the tackles, Rachaad White being that. So,
all right, give me the running backs on the other side. I've talked to a handful of people, and I might actually be somewhat interested in Eckler. Maybe I'm delusional here. I don't. Lay it out straight for me. What are we looking at?
I want nothing to do with Eckler. Eckler just showed that father time caught up last year, and I'm out on him all year long. So there's nothing to really persuade me in that factor. I do like Brian Robinson, though. I think Brian Robinson's going to be a good RB2 this week, because Cliff Kingsbury goal line will run that ball 3 times in a row in the end zone. So I have no problem with that, and that means goal line opportunities. I'll take it.
And the team always knows how to block because he runs in the same hole every single time, too. So, it's simple across the board. Cliff's a moron. Anyway, I do like Brian Robinson. I think he ends up falling in the end zone. They're going to use him quite a bit. Like I said, Cliff Kingsbury does not shy away from the run. Terry McLaurin, though, first read, he's going to eat in this offense since they got rid of Dotson. Luke McCaffrey may come along a little bit. Noah Brown's there now, but I think this is going to run through McLaurin.
I do too.
Do you like McLaurin or one of the Buccaneers wide receivers more?
If I had to rank it, I think it'd just be Evans, McLaurin, and then Chris Godwin. I think that's pretty safe across the board for everybody too.
Yeah, I want to put Chris Godwin higher. Just all this hype about him falling back into his old form a few years ago when they had him in the slot. But it's one of those I'm not going to get cute with it. Let's check out see what we have in week one. That's just where I'm at. Tight ends, we're not really talking about them.
I think Zach Ertz is actually someone. If you punted that to position, Zach Ertz is worth monitoring because for whatever reason, Cliff Kingsbury loves Zach Ertz. So he'll get a ton of run, and he's listed as a tight end 1. So I'm sorry for all those who took Ben Sinnott. But I think Zach Ertz might be the sneaky play this week.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would have taken Sinnott. What are y'all thinking here? Too much rookie hype. Too much rookie hype. Yeah. When Zach Ertz, he screwed over Trey McBride before he got hurt. So that's exactly the situation we're walking into here.
Yeah. Who wins it? I'm gonna go Buccaneers.
Buccaneers favored by 3.5. I like it. I think they're gonna win it too. Ugh, it's boring though.
Way to follow me.
Fine, I'm going first next time. All right, let's get to Detroit.
Sunday
Matt
Night
Stafford's
Football.
coming home one more time.
Again.
Yeah. This game. Oh, go for it.
Sorry, let me interrupt you. So
you're good.
I guess I'll start with the Lions side. Jared Goff, I think is going to be a solid option. I think he finishes a very safe quarterback 2, maybe high ceiling of quarterback 1. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, we had the little scare, in camp, but you draft him as your RB1. I think he finishes a low-end RB1. Dave Montgomery, I mean, I have no shares of him in any redraft. I was just I get it if Gibbs gets hurt, and oh my goodness, through the roof, but I don't draft for players to get hurt. So if you drafted, Dave Montgomery, he's probably your RB2. You're going to start him. I don't know if that's, where it'll be all year long, but and then Amon-Ra obviously is wide receiver 1, and then Laporte is tight end 1. So,
wait, Laporte is tight end 1? Come on, that's ridiculous. Zach Ertz over Laporte here.
Yeah,
no, too much. Too much. That's too much, folks. No, this game's the highest total on the slate, 52.5 points. Burn it down. Burn it down. Let's go up in the Motor City. Kyron Williams, like you said, it's across the board, all of these players, it's pretty easy go. Colby Parkinson, I don't know why the tight ends. We keep throwing out all these tight ends, but it's an interesting touchdown bet for me, at least. I do like these situations where you have lots of points scored. This guy was paid to come in here. If you can beat the Lions over the last 3 years, they've been bottom 10 against tight end, just because they cover everything else so much. So something's going to slip through. Don't hate the Colby Parkinson, but I think we're talking more DFS betting style than an actual start this week. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, who do you have finishing above? More confident in Nacua?
I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp finished ahead of Puka Nacua, but not by a lot. I just think when it comes down to the red zone, you'll see Cooper Kupp get the targets before Puka.
100% agree. Monty Gibbs, it's pretty easy. I don't think it's too hard of a decision. Let me see what I have as far as Montgomery. That's wide receivers. Brian, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, sorry. We just fired another producer. It's been rough over here. But James Conner or David Montgomery?
James Conner.
Javonte Williams, David Montgomery.
Javonte Williams.
Aaron Jones, David Montgomery.
Oh, David Montgomery. Aaron Jones is so far down.
All right. What about Jerome Ford? We just talked about him a little bit.
I'd probably go David Montgomery just a little bit.
Okay. All right. All right. Raheem Mostert, Joe Mixon taking those over David Montgomery?
Joe Mixon maybe over Montgomery, but not Raheem Mostert. I think that's where he's probably in that mix of.
That one's actually really hard for me. The Dolphins game's supposed to be high scoring as well, so it's hard not to lean into. Either narrative looks pretty good. But who's winning this game?
I got the Lions.
I'm taking the Rams. And not just because you said Lions. I'm taking the Rams. I think they cover. They cover. Or I hope they do now because I had to pick them. All right, our last game of the slate. It is the Monday night game. It's the Jets at the 49ers. And look at the schedule makers. They did it so well. Put Aaron Rodgers right back on the Monday night game. Put Leonard Floyd right across him again, the guy who took him down. I cannot wait to see. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to have the yips? Do you think he's going to flinch a little bit?
I don't know, man. But does he play longer than 3 snaps this year?
We're going for 5. You know he's going to give himself a round of applause after that 5th snap.
You know everyone's going to start clapping as soon as they just see him walk off the field after the first drive.
I hope they go 3 and out so he doesn't even get to break the snap thing in the first drive. We have to wait till the second drive.
Oh my goodness.
The running backs here, don't overthink it. We're going to go straight to the wide receivers because CMC, Breece Hall,
they're both RB1s potentials. They both have a chance to finish as top 3, top 5. So like they're in your lineups. I know they're both really good defenses, but they're both focal points of the offense.
Garrett Wilson, you're starting him. Debo, you're starting him. Ayuk, are questions there? Are we? No.
I think
set all off season.
Brock Purdy looked at him all year long, so like I'm pretty comfortable he'll finish as like where he did last year, same stat line.
He is going up against Sauce Gardner, so that will potentially. I don't think he's going to shadow him completely, but it causes problems. This Jets defense, they're pretty good, so
they are good.
I'm starting him, but understanding that he might give me high end wide receiver 2 this week instead of that wide receiver 1 you're coveting, what you kind of spent for. Give it a little bit of time. One of the best defenses in the league, stepping them back up. The tight ends though, George Kittle, good to go.
Yeah, I mean you draft him as like a top 8 tight end, so you're good to go there. And no, I'm not starting Tyler Conklin. I'm not doing it. I refuse. Aaron Rodgers and tight ends don't go together. We've known this for a while now, so.
Tunyon.
Yeah, how did he finish that year? Is he tight end what?
He was tight end 1. I think it was like tight end 8, tight end 9. No, Tunyon, come on! That whole season was magical. That's why the boy got paid. Yeah. Tyler Conklin. If you're looking at him here, you're hoping for a touchdown. That's all there is to it. I do think that he's probably the 3rd target. Breece Hall is going to get peppered with targets. So at best, he is the 3rd. This game should be a nice slugfest. Where are we looking as far as the over under on this one? It's 43.5 points. Gross. You guys are better than this. Number. San Francisco favored by 4.5 points. Opened up at 5.5, so not a whole lot of movement here. Who do you have?
I think San Francisco wins, but I think the Jets cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jets. Probably more so just to cover the spread, but I like them to, rattle San Francisco a little bit after this multi-year Super Bowl hangover from losing.
All right.
Wow. Did we do it? Did we make it through?
Did.
I think we did. Boop. Boop. Folks, we did it. We made it all the way through our start and sits. 16 games we've covered over the last 2 days. It's been great, but it's going to get a little better here because we have to give our DFS lineups. It's going to be our guys that, not quite our favorite starts, but it's going to be some of the best values that's out there for us. So why don't you open it up here? Who do you have here as your quarterback?
I think my quarterback this week's going to be Caleb Williams. I think he's at $6,100. I think he's a pretty cheap play, in my opinion. I like him against Tennessee's defense. Tennessee doesn't have a great defense. I don't expect Chicago to run the ball as much. DeAndre Swift's a great receiving back. They don't really have like a really barn burner type back. So I expect Caleb Williams to have a really good game his first one.
God, I hope so. Come on, Bears. We're all rooting for you here, except the rest of the AFC North or NFC North.
Yeah.
All right, my guy I've got to put up. I think this is going to be one of the cheapest weeks we're ever going to get him here. You kind of brought up about the rookies. This is kind of the baseline DFS where they put them when the pricing usually goes up from here. So I'm going to take Anthony Richardson, 6,300. The guy has so much potential. This is should be as close to a shootout as we can get this week. I really like his potential because we saw what he did in 2.5 games. So let's replicate it again.
Yeah. All right, on the running back side, I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker. I talked a lot about him, but I think at $6,100, you got to spend a little bit of cash on certain positions, and I think Kenneth Walker is definitely worth it. Denver ranked 31st against the run last season and 31st against running backs. I think Kenneth Walker. I have no worries about Zach Charbonnet. I think Kenneth Walker is gonna get a ton of run in this new offense.
I don't hate it. He was in my lineup for just a little bit. You got me pretty excited about him, talking about him yesterday. My guy's going to be a little pricier, though. $6,700. A man that goes by the name of Alvin Kamara. Yes. Ooh. Yes, the guy the number 1 target for Derek Carr. The guy who's just going to get peppered with targets. He's going to be, I think, more receiving yards than in rushing yards because that's just what we get from Alvin Kamara. But pretty excited for what he can do against this Panthers defense.
All right. So I have like two options at wide receiver, but I think I'll do the fun one. It's Malik Neighbors at $5,900. I think this is the cheapest we'll see him all season long. Going against Minnesota's defense, they ranked 29th against wide receivers last year. They didn't do anything to improve the secondary. They signed Stephon Gilmore, who, I mean, granted, was great at one point. He's now an old veteran. I expect Malik Neighbors to get anywhere from like 10 to 14 targets in this game and just having all these receptions. Now, how many yards, who knows? But I'm going to start him. I think he's world-class talent, and I think it's worth starting.
Nice. My next one is going to be Joe Mixon, traded to the Texans. I do have the Colts there, so I'm going to be playing into that game a little bit here in my lineup. I really like him at 6,600. I think he's going to vulture a couple touchdowns, just enough to kind of keep the wide receivers at bay. I don't want to play that guessing game week one at who's going to get it, so we're going to go with Joe Mixon, the only guy that's finished in the top 8 at running back the last 3 years.
All right. And then for me, my other wide receiver is Brian Thomas Jr. at $4,700. I think this is probably the cheapest one out of the rookie wide receivers. High over under that game with Miami. Jacksonville's already come out and said he's wide receiver one. They're going to give him the run. They're not going to let Gabe Davis kind of work in or try to earn his keep. They're going to let Brian Thomas go out there and play all the snaps they can at wide receiver. So I'm all for it. High over under. I think Trevor Lawrence and him are going to try to make a nice chemistry off the rip.
I tried my hardest to fit him in there, but I went a little wild with my flex play, so I had to pull him out. I am going to go with Yoshivas, the wide receiver for the Bengals. This point in time, I'm planning on, him being a big part of the offense. Jamar Chase isn't going to get paid in the next 2 days. I don't see it unless somebody dumps a whole lot of cash there in Cincinnati. So I'm going to play him, and he's a steal. $3,000. Let's go.
Wow, great idea, Brian. Who gave you that one?
I don't know.
My tight end is Dalton Kincaid. I think also at 5,800. I kind of spread my cash out. The only expensive player I have on my lineup is Cooper Kupp, but I like Dalton Kincaid this week. I think against Arizona. Arizona is still very young defense. I know they have a defensive-minded coach, but I expect Josh Allen to look for somebody, and I've gambled on Dalton Kincaid to be the number one target, and I'm going to do that, put my money where my mouth is. So
let's go. I like it. My next receiver, I took Anthony Richardson as my quarterback, so I'm going to get a little correlation here. But I don't need Pittman. I don't need Pittman because I think there's going to be a lot of running from Richardson. So I'm just going to get the big play guy, and I'm going to go A.D. Mitchell. Josh Downs is going to be out for week 1. A.D. Mitchell's going to be out there playing in 2 receiver sets and 3 receiver sets. He's only $3,800, and I think that he's a great play for a touchdown this week.
All right. My other wide receiver is going to be DJ Moore. I stacked him with Caleb Williams. I expect DJ Moore to be the wide receiver one for him for now. Maybe Keenan Allen gets some run in, but I expect DJ Moore to have the most targets at the end of this game.
Nice. I've got Trey McBride. I kind of talked about just the possibilities that are going to be in this offense playing against the Bills. I think the Bills, I'm betting against the Bills and in many ways, actual betting and in fantasy this year. So, I think Arizona's going to do it. I think they're going to be a surprise team, especially on offense, because the defense isn't. They're not great, but we saw them play competitively last year. So Trey McBride, 6,100.
My flex play, I already mentioned him. It's Cooper Kupp. I expect another high over-under game. I expect him to be the red zone target. I expect him and Matt Stafford to eat breakfast every morning together still. So I know Puka Nacua had a great season last year, but Cooper Kupp is fully healthy, and when he's fully healthy, the sky's the limit for him.
Do you think Cooper Kupp's more of an oatmeal guy or a grits guy?
I think he's oatmeal.
Oh, God. Okay, I knew I didn't like him for a reason.
Grits?
Oh, I love grits, man. Yeah, shrimp and grits.
Really hard from the South.
Yeah, you say it like it's a bad thing, all right?
I mean...
Well, okay, yeah, it gets pretty bad when you get really far down there, but that's not what we're talking about here. My flex play, as you heard, I went cheap on Yoshivas and A.D. Mitchell. Why did I do that? So I can get Tyreek Hill. Let's go. It's Tyreek Hill. It's this offense. It should be a great game. You brought up Brian Thomas Jr. Miami and the Jags are going to be going at it. I think Tyreek Hill is just going to pick up where he left off last year.
I forgot to mention my other running back is Javonte Williams, by the way. So I expect him to be a third down back. Yeah. It's Javonte Williams. He's $5,500, connected with Kenneth Walker. A little bit of tie in that game. I expect both of them just to be the workhorses in that game. But my defense, it's the cheapest one. That's why I was able to build this roster. It's the Carolina Panthers. They're facing the Saints. I have no worries with Derek Carr cooking them up. But guess what? It's the first week. The over-under's under 40 points. So even if they do score 2 to 3 touchdowns, it's got to put me at least 4 points. I'm not expecting Carolina to get me a pick six, but they might. Derek Carr, who knows what game he'll have.
You're talking about Derek Carr like he's the biggest threat on the team. It's Taysom Hill, man. It's Taysom Hill you got to watch out for. Yeah, utility knife. Here he comes. In my defense, I'm going with it's the Falcons. I talked about it in our matchup breakdown. They've added a lot of pieces to this secondary. They went out and traded for Judon. Like this defense, I think, can put pressure on the Steelers. And right now, we're still waiting to hear whether or not Russell Wilson plays. So I think even if he does play, we're good. But between him and Justin Fields, I think the Falcons have a higher than not chance of getting us some turnovers.
All right.
So just run down the team. I have Anthony Richardson, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. Did I bring up Tank Dell?
You did not.
Oh, there we go. That was the one I was missing. How did we both miss one there? Yeah, Tank Dell. Like I say, I've got A.D. Mitchell. I have Anthony Richardson. I'm playing into that correlation game, so I've got him, Yoshivas, A.D. Mitchell, Trey McBride, Tyreek Hill, and the Falcons. Give me that lineup.
All right, so my lineup is it's Caleb Williams, Javonte Williams, Kenneth Walker, Malik Neighbors. I have DJ Moore, Brian Thomas Jr., Dalton Kincaid, Cooper Kupp, and the Carolina Panthers defense.
Look at that, folks. Steel trap over there. Commit to memory.
That's right.
All right, man. This has been a great prep for week one. We got to get out of here. We got to start prepping for these games. I got to start making some food, some buffalo dip, all that great stuff. I'm going to pretend like it's the Super Bowl. Before we do, though,
and me, it's different though. I got to get coffee in the morning and donuts since it's 10 a.m. kickoff.
Oh God, so jealous. Yeah, I get the 1 o'clock kickoff, so I have to be productive. My wife says before noon.
I just roll out of bed.
You lucky SOB. Oh my God. Tell the people where they can find you if they want to.
You can find me on X at FFAMBMolk, and you can find me on the Facebook group page of Fantasy Football Advice Network. It's where I'd be primarily at.
Yeah, hit them up there on Sunday morning. You guys can have coffee before kickoff. Me, you can have lunch, maybe some brunch, some mimosas, I don't know. At @TooMuch_Brian on the Bird app, and then all over here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, dropping episodes as often as we can. But we got to get out of here. We'll see y'all next time.